today, we want to talk to you about what we're doing with OS X. To do that, I'd like to invite Craig Federighi up to the stage. Craig?
Good morning. You guys are too kind. Good morning. Let's talk about OS X. Our latest release, Mountain Lion, is the 9th of our big cat named releases in just over a decade. As we turn our attention now toward the 10th, we've hit a real issue. We do not want to be the first software in history to be delayed due to a dwindling supply of cats. Now, fortunately, we do have a creative group at Apple, and we can think out of the box. And so we thought maybe we could take this lion thing in a different direction. So I'm proud to present to you today OS X Sea Lion. What do you think? Okay, maybe not. That could be a bit of a dead end. So, in fact, we're really excited about the future of the Mac, and we want a set of names that are going to carry us for at least the next 10 years. And you know, the answer was really obvious to us. It's those places that inspire us here in California, in the place where OS X is designed and built. So for our first California-themed release, we went just outside our backyard, just off the coast, to a place with some of the biggest waves and most extreme surfing in all of North America, OS X Mavericks. Now, Mavericks is a release with deep technology focused on extending battery life and providing responsiveness. It has great new apps and enhancements for every Mac user, and some features that we think are going to really appeal to our power users. And I want to talk about just 3 of them right now, starting with Finder tabs. Sounds like you guys know how this is going to work. So, you, of course, can work in the Finder with multiple windows. It's a very powerful tool. But now you can draw all those windows together in tabs. And each tab can have its own location, its own view mode. It's really powerful, too. You can actually drag contents and hover across tabs. And of course, now that we have tabs in the Finder, it's also a great app to take full screen. Next, tagging. Yes. That guy. We're bringing tagging to the Mac. So now, when you save a document, in addition to providing its location and name, you can tag it. And when you do, it'll appear right in the Finder sidebar. And in fact, you can tag things wherever they are, whether they're in iCloud or on a local file share. And all those will be brought together and appear in Finder. And tags are great for really powerful search as well. Next, multiple displays. Really? All right. The Mac, of course, we're not giving you all the free multiple display here. This is software. So with multiple displays in the Mac, it's always been a powerful way to spread out your work. But now, in Mavericks, you can get at your menus across multiple displays. You can summon your dock across multiple displays. And when you take a window full screen on one display, it doesn't mess with your desktop on the other display. And I really love this. When you pan your spaces, you can do it independently on each of your displays. Finally, if you have an AirPlay connected HD TV, it acts as a full power separate display as well. And I'd like to show all of this to you now. All right, let's take our first look here at Mavericks. And we're going to start with the Finder. So Here's Finder environment. I got a lot going on, a lot of windows, a lot of different locations. I'm going to go up here to the window menu, and let's merge all my windows. Just like that, they hop into a set of tabs. Now, of course, these tabs have different locations, different view settings for each of those locations. Creating a tab is just as you'd expect. Just click plus. I can select another location, like AirDrop, maybe another for this work file share I have going right here. And now that I have multiple tabs, it's a really great way to actually work and copy documents. So if I want to copy this field report, I can just hover over the AirDrop tab, drop it, just like that, really nice. And of course, I can now take Finder full screen. Next, let's take a look at tagging. This is really cool. So as I go to save a document, you notice I can give it a name, like let's say project plan. And in addition to its location, in this case I'm going to save it in iCloud, I can also give it a tag from any of the tags I've made up. So I'm going to call this document important. It looks pretty important to me. And we'll go here into the Finder, and you see in the Finder sidebar, I have an important tag, and I see all these documents. They're from different locations, different applications, all drawn together in sidebar. We have other tags I've given things for things that are draft and in review. Now, of course, with tags, I can assign multiple tags to the same document. That's part of the power of tags. So I go here, and I'm going to say this one is also in review. And you notice as I assign that tag, it now appears in that location as well. And if I want to assign a totally new tag, I want to make up a tag on the fly, I can just type it right here. This is a website project I'm working on. It says create new tag website. And just like that, I've created a new tag, and you can see it right here in the Finder. I can give that tag a color, of course. And now that I have that tag, I can also assign tags by just dragging things in to the tag area in the Finder. So different assets for my website, just drag them in, and they're tagged like that. And tags are great for searching. So if I start typing, let's say, important, I can find all documents that are important. Let's go to all my files, and we'll find all documents that are both important and that are in review. And just like that, I found exactly what I'm looking for with tags. Next, let's take a look at multiple displays. I'm going to open up some of the kind of windows that I'm often working with. We'll open up iPhoto here, maybe a keynote presentation. And I actually have a second display connected to this MacBook Pro. Let's show that up there on the display now. Of course, with multiple displays, I can just move windows across displays like you'd expect. But now, I can get up at my menu bar on the second display. If I go down to the bottom, I can summon the dock, just like that. If I want to open an app on the second display, I can just open it on the dock here. And here's iTunes. I can take this app full screen, just like that. And as I swipe spaces, just right back there, just on that display. Let's take Keynote full screen as well. I'm going to go back to my first display here. Let's even take iPhoto full screen. So now I have different full screen apps on my different displays. It's actually a really fantastic way to work. Go in here into Favorite Travels, and I can now drag assets across my full screen apps like that. Super cool. And Mission Control has just been supercharged for multiple displays. So I'm going to go now into Mission Control, and we see my different full screen spaces and desktops across applications. I can drag a window from one display to another. But I can also go and drag a full screen app right across displays, bring preview open, and now I have that full screen on this display as well. Finally, I actually have an Apple TV around here. Let's bring that into play. So here's my Apple TV. Now, this is pretty over the top. So I can actually go here into AirPlay. I'm going to connect to this Apple TV. So now it's a full power display as well. You can see I have my menu bar and my dock. I can go over here and get at my dock here. And I can go into Mission Control even, and I can go get a window across that other display. We'll just drag Keynote over here, right on to my Apple TV, and open it up. There it is, full displays in Mavericks. Next, I'd like to talk about some advanced technologies in Mavericks. You know, our power users are increasingly doing their work on the go. They want great responsiveness, but they also want great battery life. And in Mavericks, we've introduced a whole host of technologies to address that challenge. Things like compressed memory that make sure you have memory available very quickly when apps demand it. Technologies like App Nap that actually make sure we're directing power only to those applications where you're really benefiting from it. System-wide core animation accelerated scrolling and OpenGL4 for super responsive graphics. And a topic I want to go into in a bit more detail now, timer coalescing. So you know, when you look at battery life on your computer, the real factor that software has the most influence over is CPU activity and its draw on power. And if you look at what your system is doing at any given time, what you'll see as you look under the hood is not a smooth line, but actually hundreds of interrupts occurring per second where the system is going from a power-efficient sleep state up to a state of high power use and back down. And all of those transitions actually consume a lot of power. Well, in Mavericks, we intelligently align all of that work, reducing those number of transitions. This, in combination with technologies like AppNap and other power optimizations, reduce CPU utilization activity for these kinds of scenarios up to 72%. It's pretty awesome. Next, let's talk about compressed memory. Nothing affects the performance of your Mac, the responsiveness more of a Mac that's under load than its ability to provide free memory to an app. Now, typically, when you look at your app runtime, all your memory isn't active. In fact, a subset of your memory is actively being used, and others is memory we have to keep around but isn't being used by the app. Well, now, if you open a document, your system is going to need to get free memory, and it does that in the past by writing those inactive bits of memory out to disk, and that's a slow process. Now, with compressed memory, we're able to rapidly compress the inactive memory, making free space available almost instantaneously to the application. This can have great effects on responsiveness of systems under load. You see 1.4x kinds of improvements even on fast SSD systems for activities like opening new documents or reactivating an application, and up to 1.5x improvement for waking a system from standby. These are just two of many improvements to power and performance in Mavericks. Next, let's talk about Safari. In the last decade of life, Safari has focused not just on providing the easiest to use and most elegant browsing experience, but also the most innovative. These are the kinds of innovations that Safari has brought: private browsing, blocking of third-party cookies for privacy, making the web easier to read with features like Reading List, and the HTML5 audio and video tag, all Safari firsts. And the engine in Safari, WebKit, is used by over 1.5 billion devices. Well, in Mountain Lion, we're making Safari even better. We have a great, clean new home page with top sites. From there, you can get at a great sidebar where you have access to all of your bookmarks, and you can browse right from your bookmarks. And in that sidebar, we also have Reading List, where now you can continuously scroll through your articles, moving from article to article without ever having to click. And a great new feature called Shared Links, where you see all of the links shared by people you're following on Twitter and LinkedIn. You can browse them right here. Now, in addition to these end user improvements, there's also a lot going on under the hood. Big improvements to JavaScript, a full process per tab architecture, and memory efficiency improvements with shared memory resource cache, and a whole bunch of big power savings as well. When you look at the effects of these changes, it's pretty profound. If you take a synthetic benchmark like SunSpider, you see how Safari fares against the competition. But you know, researchers have started to look at more real-world JavaScript by sampling the JavaScript that actually occurs on sites like the Google homepage, Facebook, Amazon.com. And when you look at Safari's performance on a benchmark like that, JS Bench, the results are really incredible. Safari is also awesome when it comes now to memory usage. using way less memory than the other browsers, which means more memory for you to browse with more tabs and do more on your system. And when it comes to energy use, it's not even close. Safari uses way less energy than Chrome, and when you compare to Firefox, it's just kind of sad. So that's Safari. I'd love to give you a demo of some of our advanced technologies in Safari right now. So let's start with responsiveness. And I'm going to go now into Mail. And so here we have a mailbox with about 100,000 messages in your inbox. And I just want to show you how you scroll now with that accelerated scrolling. Perfectly smooth, incredibly fast, almost 60 frames a second whenever you do it. It's just epic. And when you look here at scrolling through a conversation, this is a conversation with 26 messages in it. Again, just super glassy smooth, super fast. It's really, really nice. Let's take a look at that in Safari. In Safari, we've improved scrolling for more popular websites and actually optimized heavily for Retina displays. So now it's just super fast, super smooth. Now let's take a look at power. Yeah, there's a fan of smooth scrolling right there in the front. I'm a fan of smooth scrolling as well. So let's take a look at power usage. I have a power meter up here that's showing CPU activity in Safari. And you notice right now it's quite low because we're not doing anything. But let's go into a website that's going to use a lot of power. And you notice the power meter shoot right up because we're doing a lot of animation here, using a lot of CPU, and that's okay. That's what the CPU is for. It's doing something cool for me right here. But very often you'll have something like this happening in an ad off in the corner. You've covered this window up, and yet it's still draining your battery life. You don't even realize it. Well, now with this technology we call AppNav, we keep track of what's going on and what things you actually see to decide where to direct power. So watch what happens when I bring up this iTunes window over the Safari window. Power drops right down. That's extending your battery life. But of course, that thing is still running. It's still available to me. So if I pull it aside, there it goes. You can see everything happening right now. The power goes up, cover it back up, power goes right back down. It's really going to help your battery life. Next, let's take a look at the new Safari top sites. Really clean, really nice. We'll bring out the new sidebar. You see I have all my bookmarks here. I have my bookmark folders as well. If I want to bring a site over from my bookmarks into top sites, I can just drag it out like this. It's really nice. I can open it up, animates in. From the sidebar, we also have access to our shared links. So you see sites that I'm following here on Twitter and LinkedIn. You can click on a link that's been shared, loads it up. I can even retweet it right here if I wish. And we now have one-click bookmarking. So I'll just click this plus, and it's going to hop right in to my reading list right there. Let's go take a look at my reading list. You can see all the articles I've added here to my reading list. I want you to watch how scrolling works, because now when I scroll and I'm reading through one article, I read this is great, really enjoying it, get to the bottom, there's the next article. I can just scroll right through to the next article just like that. Awesome. We also have a beautiful new look for Reader. Here's Reader. And I'm going to bring up I can actually close up my sidebar here. And now as I scroll reading, and I just want to read from one article to the next, it's just like that. Super clean and super nice. And that's Safari in Mavericks. I think you're going to like it. So we have some more improvements that I think are going to really help you with your browsing, and one of them is iCloud Keychain. Yeah. You know, to really be secure these days, you want to have a different, complex password for every site where you have a login. But this inevitably brings up the question, what's my password? And these solutions are not recommended. There is a better way. With iCloud Keychain, we can remember your website logins, your credit card numbers, even your Wi-Fi networks, and they're always encrypted, synced across all of your systems, so they're always available to you. Now, when you go sign up for a website, You can, of course, enter your own password, and we'll remember it, but as well, Safari can auto-suggest a password for you. You don't have to remember that, but it'll enter it in for you, and then sync it across all of your systems and log in for you from then on. iCloud Keychain is great for your shopping as well. When you come to a credit card field, you can suggest any of your remembered credit cards, select one, and it'll just enter it in for you just like that, along with your expiration date. But you have to remember your own security code. That's what makes it secure, after all. And that's iCloud Keychain. Next, some improvements to notifications. So now with notifications on the Mac, if you're a Californian like me, you'll often get this kind of notification. Hey, want to go surf these 30-foot waves? And your response surely is to mouse over the notification and immediately right there reply, yeah, sure, I'm going to surf that 30-foot wave. You can reply right inside the notification. And you can do this for things like email and quickly delete email you might not want to deal with without even having to go to mail. If you get a FaceTime call, you can respond saying, hey, I'm going to call you later, or remind without having to pick up the call. It's really handy. We also handle a new kind of notification. So if you have an app today that sends push notifications to iOS devices, well, now you can sign up to receive those push notifications on your Mac as well, whether Safari is running or not. So things like your fantasy football alert, maybe breaking news, news about that buy on eBay. And now, in Mavericks, when your machine is sleeping, when you wake it up, it'll tell you everything that you missed while you're away right on the lock screen. And it'll now update apps for you right in the background, so you don't have to do it yourself. So that's notifications. Next up, calendar. Let's take a look. Absolutely no virtual cows were harmed in the making of this user interface. We're going to be adding that one to our environmental checklist, trust us. So in addition to that, you have your Facebook events right on your calendar if you wish. And we have a great new inspector that's even aware of things like location, travel time, and weather. And that's your calendar. Next, maps. The Maps team has been making great improvements to the data in Maps, and Mac users are going to benefit because we have this fantastic new Maps app. Of course, with your street maps, you have your 3D, beautiful flyover data, search for points of interest, great info cards. You can get turn-by-turn directions. And my favorite part, when I have a route that I've set up on my Mac, and now it's time to go, you can just click right up here and send it right to my iPhone, where it'll appear right on my lock screen. And when I unlock my phone, it takes me straight into navigation. Super cool. We're also providing a developer SDK so you can add mapping functionality to your apps as well. So that's Maps. Finally, we're bringing iBooks to the Mac. So now you have access to the full library of 1.8 million books in the iBook store. Your full library from your iOS devices is available on your Mac as well. It's a great environment for reading. It's also a great environment for taking notes. And it supports iBooks textbooks. They're beautiful, and they're interactive. I'd love to give you a demo of all of this right now. So let's start in Maps. So here we are in Paris. You can just zoom in. We have someone from Paris there. Can zoom right in. You see it's just so fast and fluid, bringing in points of location. I can pan around the map, find a nice location, maybe the Eiffel Tower right here. Let's go in to look at that flyover data. So we can see the Eiffel Tower. Can go into tilt it over. It's the Eiffel Tower right there. The flyover data is just beautiful. And of course, I can even rotate around Paris. Look, you can even see through the Eiffel Tower as it rotates into the area of the city below. The data is just gorgeous, the new flyover data. It's really amazing on your Big Mac display. Of course, we support great search for points of interest. So if I want to go to lunch, maybe at, I'm told this is Guy Savoy. We'll go to Guy Savoy. We have these great info cards with reviews, photos. I can add a site to my bookmarks just like this. And it's now synced across all my devices, so this location is available to me, of course, on my phone. And because this is a Mac, I can tear these off. So if I'm planning a trip, I can set aside some things of interest. I can, of course, get directions. Let's do that here, directions from the Eiffel Tower. And when I'm ready to go, I can send it right to my phone, like this. And that's Maps. Next, let's take a look at the new calendar. It has continuous scrolling, and what's really amazing is even without the stitching, the window still sticks right there on the screen. It doesn't fall off without the stitching. I don't know how we did it. It's engineering. It's really great for creating events. So if I go and create an event like this, let's say I'm going to have lunch. And now I'm going to type in what I want to have for lunch. So I'm going to say I want pizza. And you notice it suggests all sorts of locations nearby. So I'm going to select Tony's Pizza. And you notice I get a map. I even get projected weather for that location, so I know if I need to bring a jacket. Now I can select here and actually ask it to tell me what the travel time is expected from my last location. So I can decide if I want to drive or walk. I'm going to say I want to walk. And it actually adds the travel time right to my calendar, so I know not to schedule anything there. And I don't have to remember because I can ask to be notified when I need to leave, and I'll get a notification both on my Mac and on my phone as well. So that is Maps. Finally, let's take a look at iBooks. So I have all my books here. Of course, can browse the collections I've arranged. We have access to the store with all of its content. Books, of course, is ultimately about reading. So you can get in here and read, move easily between the pages. You have access to all the controls you'd expect. Your bookmarks, search, can adjust your type of font and type size, go into a nice night mode that's relaxing for the eyes. But of course, I really love these interactive iBooks textbooks. Let's open one of those up now. So I can scroll through the pages of my book, see all these nice interactives and videos. I can pinch right into a graphical table of contents. Scroll through the pages of this chapter, can select another chapter, scroll through just like this. These fantastic interactives. So if I want to understand the way the cellular structure works, for instance, on this leaf, you can just drill right in, see all the way through like this. It's just incredible. Really great way to learn. Yeah. It's also a great environment for taking notes. You can just select some text, add a note, ask the teacher about this. Take a note like that. Because it's a Mac, of course, I can just stretch out, get a sidebar where I can see all my notes in the sidebar, which is really convenient, just like this. We also have a great view with a sidebar to show all your notes, and you can use them to navigate your book. And when it comes time to study, we have these great study cards. You can just flip through them, use all your notes, study, just like that. And that is iBooks in Mavericks. So Mavericks continues making your digital life follow you easily from device to device. So now your books are available on whatever device you choose to read them on. Remembers what page you're reading. We now remember your passwords, so they're available to you across all your devices, even now your bookmark location and travel routes. Mavericks is a fantastic release. It's full of some great features for power users, deep technology to extend your battery life and improve system responsiveness, and some great features for everyone. For those of you developers, we have a preview available for you today. And for everyone else, in the general public, you'll be getting the final release this fall. So that is Mavericks. Next.